Okay. But which,
Up on the top section, in other words, where you have the straight stair
Right.
coming down,
sorry, this is very short.
and how that would interface with those two rooms there. Is that, am I asking the right
yeah.
question?
So on the upper right-hand quadrant, if you move that stairwell back a few feet to occupy some of the space.
Could you save this room?
No, you couldn't. You could not save that room. This is like, you would gain, this is like 60 inches. It's like 5 feet. And this office is probably about 9.5, 10 feet wide.
Down in the lower right, does it start to about 5 or 6 feet in from the edge of the building on the right?
It actually has to. There are a couple of things. Yeah.
No, but I mean...
You can move this over?
Back, you have the headroom, you can move it back to 5 feet to save the...
You wouldn't have the headroom as well. Okay. This area here, that's actually kind of one story with a roof, so you don't really have the headroom. From here over, that's where the two-story part of the building begins, so you'd have to redo the roof.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the reason why, yeah.
The top drawing and the bottom drawing?
We don't have that.
There's nothing out there.
Yeah, that's the why we kind of brought it in. You know, sure, you can shift doorways, but you also need a little space when you go in and out of a stair. I mean, to just have the minimal 4 feet or 3, it's very tight. It's nice to have a little more of a space.
The second
This line.
Frank's office sit over the first...
It's actually right over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this tiny little space,
All right, you're not gonna...
it's not really going to give you anything, yeah. And not that, I'm not sure how this weighs, but the maintenance people who work there, they said, oh, it's easy to move. It's just, we just have to move things over. I think they realize that a lot of the supplies are spread out over various rooms because there is plenty of room up there.
Now, what impact would this have on any of the facilities that are in the current kitchen area? I mean, are things going to be more crammed in there if we put the stairwell in?
No.
Or is there plenty of room?
There's plenty of room. There's really plenty of room. So the refrigerator and then the counter range here. So in the end, the refrigerator goes here. This really isn't used much. It's still circulation. I mean, anyone coming in and out is coming in like this into the main space. So that would actually be the main part of the kitchen anyway. It's actually really used for circulation. Now we're just sticking a stair in the area.
And we're also covering it by opening up the butler's pantry.
Right. So if we open this, then you really do make this kitchen much more usable.
Thank you.
Are we going to lose up on the second floor? Now, I'm trying to figure out which way the stairwell is going to come into that office. What about that kind of like landing that has the open glass where you can't really get into it except from the main stairs?
No, that's part of the main stair.
That's over here? Exactly. That's
Okay.
over here, and that's untouched.
Office from the other end?
Well, Frank's office?
Yeah,
Frank's office is the one that's like almost above the
the
kitchen.
main stair.
Yeah.
Kitchen, no.
Directly above the kitchen.
No. Frank was using the one room. Now he's using the smaller room.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Okay, thank you.
And I think that room is actually, that room can be converted to
Let's get the
a meeting
lights.
space for
Get the lights,
15.
Mr.
If you're talking about the room at the top of the main stairs,
Yeah.
we're planning on converting that to a meeting room, actually, because you can actually have a meeting there with about 15, 16 people.
Well, I guess my first question would be, are we allowed to do all of these changes with the will? It seems like we're changing the whole idea of the mansion look, and I mean, it's just, I would, for one, not be in favor of knocking down any walls in the kitchen, moving the stove. I mean, that's just way too much. We're changing the whole character of the building.
I'll remind you that the previous administration put in bathrooms and converted various rooms. The building is not on the National Register of Historic Places.
I just want to make sure we're following the will and we're not violating the terms of the will.
I think we're following the terms of the will by keeping the stairs wholly within the building and not changing the outside structure of the building.
Well,
But then you talked about a door with a push to go out,
think-
and it just sounded like metal and ugly and not wood, you know.
Well, I shared some of Councilwoman Mendocino's concerns in the sense that this is a more ambitious project that I hadn't understood originally. First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. That was very helpful to get a much better sense of what's going on. So I think that, I'd like to. I'm not an architect. I just want to better understand what each of these projects looks like, and then whether it might even be consistent with the will. But still, I think it's a reasonable question. I think we need to think about it. We need to put this. I just think we need to revisit it because it is more comprehensive than I certainly thought. I mean, the whole idea. Again, I don't have the visual that Deputy Supervisor Villanova and Councilwoman Mendocino have, but when I hear talk about losing offices, the whole idea was to gain offices. And so, I'm not saying that we don't gain offices, but it's more comprehensive than I had originally understood. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. Very, very simple.
And then to lose 2.5 months also is another issue that we have to cost and factor in. So it's a more comprehensive project than I had originally anticipated.
I was obviously skeptical from the beginning, as you all know, but I think the benefits outweigh the detriment to the area. This is the first step that we're taking. We're taking the opportunity to better understand what our options are, to open up the second floor legitimately to the public. Okay, for the most part, it's really the nonprofits that will have access to this floor. Will be able to use it for offices and smaller meetings and things of that nature. So it's becoming that's the pure benefit. I agree with the Councilwoman Mendocino that we need to mitigate the impact, but this is the first step. And the one thing that we focus on when we're doing any project is to build consensus with stakeholders. So we're going to have the opportunity now to come up with what we feel is probably one of the better plans, and then we go forward. We build consensus, and we come up with a good project, clean project. We come up with a schedule that benefits the stakeholders, and we go from there. So this is a great step. I appreciate it. I think I like your design, and I think that it's something that will prove beneficial to the town.
Yeah, very helpful. I also want to ask the town attorney Noto if you could just look at the will and make certain that we are obviously
I'll take a look at
conforming.
it, but I don't think it really addresses the maintenance on the mansion.
I don't think so either, but the concern is legitimate, whether or not it violates the law, the will. But let's make sure for certain that it doesn't violate the law.
And if I can just throw one other comment in here, it'll be a bit of a surprise. But Sunday we happened to meet with Edna Crawford's granddaughter and her family that came down from Rhode Island. They toured the mansion with the Friends of Crawford Park, as well as Ron Colabito and myself. They went through the entire mansion, reminiscing about where they opened their Christmas gifts and where they had Thanksgiving and so forth. So they had a great time, and we did review, at least preliminarily with them, the concept of adding the additional fire stair and opening up the upstairs, and they seemed amenable to that. Now, that's not approval by any stretch, but there was no objection to it. In fact, I think they welcomed the fact that the mansion was going to be able to be used by more people. So I did want to share that with you. It just happened to be serendipity that it occurred.
That's great. And what I wanted to see, can we organize a walkthrough? Because I'm not anywhere near as visual as my colleagues, my engineering colleagues. I would love to organize a walkthrough at some point.
Anytime.
I was going to suggest, it's easy enough. There are also specific questions. Happy to do a walkthrough so we can show what would be removed, what kind of light is in there now, the condition of the kitchen now, which is, there's like a big Viking stove and everything, which is clearly not historically accurate. And then we can also, like you're imagining certain types of doors and you're thinking a big metal thing. Even fire doors, we can put, you can clad them with wood. So they'll have fire ratings, but they can be historically contextual. And so we can be very sensitive to that as well to make sure that, we're not actually taking away anything from the mansion.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. Okay, Rhinetown Park end of season. Bishop, is it summer gone? Is that what you're trying to tell us here?
Yeah, just give you a quick update. Again, if you can, it's about for the Pass those on.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had the Rytown Park Commission meeting was yesterday, and the operations manager, Fred Joffrey, had given a report. What you have in front of you is a rough idea of the financials. These are, at the moment, projections. If I call your attention to the column year-end projections, we're basically saying that we are going to lose money again at Rytown Park. I don't think that's going to surprise anybody, but the losses are manageable. This, we think, is a worst-case scenario. We actually think we're going to do better on the financial side. If you go to the next few pages, you'll see we try to explain some of the usage. We had certainly a diminution in revenue because of the bad weather that Goldie referred to. We did have some various things that happened, how can I call it, throughout the season. Long and short of it, we think we did a reasonably good job considering the weather, and we're hoping to have a financial performance that is close to what we have been doing for the last 3 years.
Any questions from the board?
No.
No.
Perfect, thank you, Bishop. Otter Creek Bridge, well, Mr. Nord is not here, he sent his report.
You want me to read it to the record for you?
Yeah.
Okay, report from the Superintendent of Highways, South Barry Avenue Bridge over Guyon Creek. The wing wall repair project is completed by McNamee Construction as per Ahneman Kirby specifications. Pictures are attached for the record. McNamee also removed debris and from the work area that was thrown into the waters by others. Village of Mamaroneck's Highway Department was very helpful in removing the debris from curbside. Gaps that were existing where the blacktop met the concrete sidewalk were fixed with no extra charge to the town of Rye. Thank you, McNamee. Ahneman Kirby is working on specifications to fix the concrete sidewalk that is deteriorating on the same side as the wing wall repair. This was shown last month's meeting. Update on the South Barry Avenue bridge over Otter Creek. Ahneman Kirby is waiting for the approval so they could draw specifications for the repair of the wing wall on the Otter Creek Bridge. This repair is very similar to the Guyon Creek Bridge, only on a smaller scale. We'll address that later on in the meeting. This bridge also requires a tonnage sign. This bridge also needs the steel beams to be scraped and repainted to protect for the salt water below. Finally, the Continental Footbridge. He's arranged with Frank DeLeo that when he gets back from vacation, he will work together with his men to do the minor repairs on the footbridge and a report.
Okay, and that leads us to this resolution for Ahneman Kirby. Do you want to...
I'll sneak in here, and basically, Ahneman Kirby is looking for approval for a $4,000 fee to do pretty much what Councilman Villanova had pointed out. They're going to perform the site observations, measure and assess the existing conditions of the bridge, the superstructure, the concrete abutments, and the stone wing walls, prepare the findings report for the council, and they'll also do a structural analysis of the existing bridge to deal with the fact that we do have to put some tonnage restraints on that bridge. In order to do that, they've got to do some testing to find out what the capacity is of that bridge. And then, they'll certainly come to any meetings and whatnot. All right, what's not included in this is the actual design of any repairs and remediation work. All right, that would come separately. And if you'll recall, that's going to be very similar to, I think, the Guyon Creek Bridge that we just did. If you'll remember, the last time Brian Smith was here from Ahneman Kirby, he had indicated that this repair was a little bit less than the last repair. The last repair cost us $27,000. So this repair is going to be somewhere in that same neighborhood. It's a very, very similar project where the wing walls are starting to deteriorate from underneath and need to be rebuilt.
This is a repair that we will probably realize in 2012.
In all probability, yes. I don't see us getting this thing moving before 2012.
Okay.
And a motion to approve the resolution for Ahneman Kirby?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mendocino?
Aye.
Nyors?
Aye.
Villanova?
Yes.
Carbon?
Yes.
We might want to look at putting some money, more money on bridges on the budget.
Yeah, we got it. Well, actually, to date, we've been putting these under operating expenses pretty much, right?
Yes.
Right.
Should be capital.
Yeah, I think we should be, one of the things when we do our off-site, we need to take another look at the capital budget. That's exactly right. And review all that good work you did, Councilman Yours. Mr. Noto?
Yeah, we have another cert matter, Benigno Properties. This is an old one, so it's coming up to being trial ready. So I did present a resolution to retain Jeff Bender. You want Mitch to go through as usual?
Yep.
Okay, he's ready.
You understand?
Start by describing the property and where it's located. The property is located at 4448 Paningo Street in the village of Portchester. It comprises 8 apartments, a laundromat, as well as a second structure that is a garage with office space above it. The site is improved with on-site parking. I'm going to reserve comment on the assessment simply because it's the date of this is 2001 and my computer system doesn't even go back that far.
Wait, so this certiorari has been outstanding since 2001?
That is correct.
And what,
The
now, and
index number was assigned in 2001.
they haven't filed since then?
I ran a check. They had the only filing I could find was in 2010.
So they filed in 2001 and 2010.
That's correct. Now, understand our official cert filing goes back to 2004, so I can only check from 2004 coming forward.
No, I understand that. That's what I'm trying. And do we have a value or we don't have a value? You can't.
I have a current value, but not an indication of the value in 2001.
What's the current value?
Current value is $1,350,000.
And what are they saying it's worth?
I don't know at this point.
Okay, did they? You don't know
I do not have a copy of that filing as of this moment.
the 2010 filing?
No, the 2001 filing.
No, do we have? What are they saying it's worth in the 2010 filing?
I looked at it. I believe it was something very similar to our assessment.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. But I thought there was a 4-year...
It was, but the courts are not dismissing them. They're just consolidating them and moving them up into the pipeline to get them dismissed.
Well, I don't understand. I mean, was this the time of the meeting where you went to my...
Actually,
This is where
Usually,
Rob's
I'm too
going.
tired for that, but ultimately,
This is
this is...
you.
we'll get this disposed of.
But,
We'll ask council to make a
I mean,
motion.
do we even know this was out there?
No, I did not personally.
No, it just came in, it came in recently as a
Miscellaneous.
request for judicial intervention, so yeah.
Well, and why do we have to honor it?
Well,
Well,
no,
because we've been directed to be in court and have a conference and change appraisals and all that.
But I mean, we
We can't just ignore it. We
Well,
have-
isn't there a statute of limitations?
Well, there was a statute of limitations. As I said, these things were backed up, and they're not dismissing them because it was, he didn't file untimely. The fact that it's been pending for 10 years, but he filed timely. Statute of limitations is on filing, not on prosecuting it, so.
Well, wait, so for all we know, there's 100,000 of these out there.
Well, I don't think so, because we know each year we get about 200 certs on average. So, we're going to get to the bottom of this and see where it is. But look, for 9 years, they didn't file, so that's a good thing.
okay, so very simply, we can instruct through the town attorney to request that they motion to dismiss.
Yeah, if we think that there's a merit to that, we'll ask that he summary judgment.
Very good.
An approval to approve getting a motion to approve Mr. Binder?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Guilford?
Aye.
Mendocino?
Aye.
Nyors?
Aye.
Villanova?
Yes.
Carbon?
Yes. Okay, and lane appraisals, you saying you're looking to hire lane appraisals for various...
Or specifically an appraisal of property at 406 Boston Post Road, commonly known as the main parcel for the United Hospital, former United Hospital.
Mitch, what's our exposure here with this appraisal?
The cost of the appraisal?
Potential.
Potential cost of the appraisal is approximately $23,000. significant.
Oh, my God.
Okay, and maybe we should talk a moment about the assessment.
I think it's a good idea.
Where it is. Okay? United Hospital went into bankruptcy in 2005, I believe it was. It was subsequently sold in 2006 at auction for $26,650,000. Okay? And this comprised the main parcel, the apartment building, and a small parcel. All right? In 2000, following that sale, we settled up all the certiorari's and agreed to a value for this parcel we're discussing today of $22,350,000
As of what year?
as of 2006. Okay?
You say you agreed, what do you mean you agreed?
They came in with the sale price, and there was a pending certiorari, and it was settled by town board resolution. Okay, it was a negotiated agreement. It was based upon the sale price of $26,650,000. We allocated the sale price across the parcels appropriately. They agreed those were the proper allocations.
Can you just explain for the listening audience how if something was sold in '06 for $26,650,000, there was an agreed-upon assessment that same year of over $4 million less?
Well, because it comprised...
No, it wasn't $4 million less. What they did is they broke it, and this is what you need to give the valuation for the three. So they broke it into three, the 26 is broken into three properties. The main parcel, the small parcel, and what was the third?
The
Apartment building?
999 high.
All right. So how did you allocate the full
So
26?
the allocation was based upon the sale price,
I
the
understand
relative
that.
values, and everybody agreed that was proper.
Right, but what were the other two valuations?
They added up to the sale price. I don't recall them individually, and they're not at issue.
Okay.
Okay? So the only one at issue is this main parcel.
So what, you agree with this 27, and you haven't had a filing from them since?
No, that's what this is about. We agreed to the $22,350,000. They agreed that was the proper price. What's in front of this board is a value a year later where they're now claiming that it's worth $8.8 million.
What do you mean a year later? What do you mean a year later?
They sold it in 2006. The next year, the year we're appraising this for, has a value date of 2007. 1 year later, and I can tell you...
No, but I don't understand. Sorry, did they file in 2007 or they didn't file in 2007?
I'm trying not to confuse assessment years with value years.
Yeah, but
They filed in 2008 and 2009. 2008 is based upon a 2007 value.
Okay, so that's what I want to know. So they filed in 2008 at a value of how much?
I can tell you, I don't know the answer, but I will tell you that they showed me their appraisal and it claimed...
No, but what did they...
They claimed $8.8 million in the appraisal. 1 year after the sale, where we settled it up at $22 million.
I understand that, but the...
I don't know the answer to that specific question.
Hold on. So, I want the public to know, pardon me, Deputy Supervisor. So I want to go through this again, like we do every week. So, when they, 2008, when they went from the Board of Assessment Review, what did they maintain the value was? Was it 10% of value?
Yes.
All right, so they said it was $2.235 million.
Yes.
Okay, and then they filed a certiorari.
Correct.
Have we received any information since then?
No.
Formal communication?
No formal communication.
All right, so the public at home need to understand this is where the system is broken. In fact, I had a very constructive meeting with the Board of Assessment Review this afternoon. And this is where our groundbreaking legislation is so fundamentally important. So they paid $26 million. They agreed to a valuation of $22.35 million in 2006. And in 2008, the valuation is on a 2007 date.
1 year later.
1 year later, they said, no, it's only worth $2.2 million.
It's only worth $8.8
No,
million.
no, you don't, I'm sorry. You're told, no, they did.
Yes, okay, yes, I apologize.
They came in and said $2.2 million. So they said, we're going to just go to court. I don't care that I agree with you in 2006. I'm going straight to court. And I'm going to, unfortunately, at the end of the day, every commercial enterprise in the town of Rye loses. The cost of every commercial enterprise in the town of Rye goes up. It's direct. There's one boat. All the commercial enterprises are in the same boat. So if one group is paying less, the rest of them are paying more. So the cost of doing business in town of Rye goes up dramatically if they're successful. So they said 2.35. They filed certiorari. Dagger one hanging over our head since 2008, correct?
Correct.
Okay. 2009, what'd they come in at? Same 2.235?
Sure, yes.
Dagger 2, hanging over our head since 2009. So why are we talking about this today? What's today's date? October 25th, 2011. Why we got these dates? Did they fire in 2010?
Yes.
So dagger 3, hanging overhead. Okay, so 3 daggers hanging overhead. And these are the school children. The school children, these are the school monies. These are monies that are taken out of school kids' pockets. School kids' pockets. So, now, why are we talking about this today?
Because we have a scheduled appraisal date in December and a scheduled trial in January.
Okay, so who scheduled that?
The court system.
Yeah, but Mr. Noto, help me understand. Do we have any control over this? Or these guys with the 3 daggers over their head say, you know what? Now we're going to go after the town. We're going to take the school money kids, the money's away from the school kids. Do we have any control about when those daggers come down on our head?
No.
Okay. And that's the groundbreaking legislation. So as you're sitting out there, I want to thank again the State Assemblyman Latimer for working with us to get the Assembly to pass groundbreaking legislation that supports reval communities so they can fight the 3 daggers hanging overhead. What happens in a residential? In a residential situation, you solve it the same year. You solve it the same year. If I got it wrong, Goldie, I want to know, and we'll fix it. If we got it wrong here, let's fix it. But don't have 3 daggers hanging over my head where the municipalities are wholly disadvantaged and can't fight. It's an unfair fight. So, okay, so now you want me to spend $23,000 for an appraiser. We're going to have to go out and pay a lawyer what I want to understand, they're at $2.2 million. So my question is, how did you get this $8.8 million number?
They produced, the other side, we had a meeting to discuss it.
Who's we?
Myself, Aldo Battagliano, who's counsel on this,
Yep.
Representatives of the property owners, to sit down and try and have an intelligent discussion.
And what did they say?
They produced an appraisal, which they allowed me to view in the meeting, which indicated that the value in 2007, for the same piece we agreed, a value of $22.3 million was $8.8 million.
Is this a publicly traded company, Starwood? So they're saying they're the stupidest guys in the world? They're saying they paid $23 million, and geez, I'm a dumb... I mean, I don't want to influence the share price, but ultimately,
Starwood Hotels? No.
Yes, I believe it's in some entity, but yes, essentially.
So if I may, I think one of the issues that they had raised, and by the way, when I discussed this with Mitch, I was channeling my inner Carvin, because I said, look, if it was sold in 2006 at $26 million, I said that's my number. I said that is the fair market value, because that's what a willing buyer was willing to pay. You can't get a better indication of value than what someone's actually going to pay for the property. And Mitch didn't disagree with me, but I'm saying that
I agree.
So, yes, he did agree with me, and I said, this is outrageous, because we have a very recent sale, and you can't get anything better than that. They were raising the issue of the zoning, and that how it was zoned for them, and I was discussing the fact that they have approached the village of Portchester looking for all kinds of inducements or whatever, or give back, so they could build, I think they wanted some 700
They have a proposal
units.
in front of the village of Portchester, and it's in the form of a conceptual site plan along with an environmental review statement, which I have a copy of, but it calls for the construction of approximately 34,000 square feet of retail and office space and 700 plus units of housing.
Which I don't think the village is going to agree to. I mean, I'm just saying that this is what they were planning, but they were saying the property was owned, 2 families?
It is zoned for 2-family homes.
And I said, but they bought it knowing what that zone was. We didn't shock them, we didn't change the zone after they bought it.
They clearly purchased the property with the intent of a commercial development, as evidenced by the numbers.
And they did their due diligence, and whether or not the village agrees to give them whatever they want doesn't change the fact that they paid $26 million for the property. With knowing full well what the zoning was at the time and what the village may or may not have been willing to do.
Plus, they bought it with the intent of tearing it down or
So
rehabilitating the area.
I don't see a settlement here, Supervisor. I say we fight them, tooth and nail, and in order to do that, we're going to have an appraisal.
Can I get a motion to hire an appraiser?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Gelfarb.
Aye.
Mendocino.
Aye.
Nyors?
Aye.
Villanova?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes, Mr. Markowitz and Mr. Noto, I want to have just a brief meeting on this tomorrow also, okay? Just a brief phone call.
Phone call.
Yeah, phone call, yeah.